3 people who beat the system. After this person's landlord said they couldn't paint the walls in their apartment, they decided to get paint strips and cover the walls. This person's teacher won't let them eat in class, so they filled an empty lip balm with cheese so they could sneak it in. This person was only allowed to have a 1-page cheat sheet, so they wrote a whole page of notes in red pen, then another page in blue pen. Then they brought 3D glasses to class, so when they looked through the red side they could see the red pen, and when they looked through the blue side they could see the blue pen. Here's the 3 most dangerous kid toys. In the 1990s, Rollerblade Barbie was released. Each rollerblade used the same wheel mechanism they use in cigarette lighters. So when the Barbie was rolled, it would shoot out sparks. In 1996, the Cabbage Patch Snack Time Kid was released. It ate plastic foods that came with it and exited through a hole in the backpack. But the toy couldn't tell whether it was plastic, your finger, or your hair. And one girl's hair was ripped down to her scalp. Finally, in the 1990s, Nickelodeon released Moon Shoes, which you would strap onto your feet and the springs would help you jump higher. However, they weren't very safe and lots of people sprained and broke their ankles. This boy passed away in a car crash, then he was brought back to life, and what he said will shock you. Landon and his parents were in the car, then all of a sudden they felt a strong force hit them. It was an ambulance going to the hospital that crashed into them. Unfortunately, his dad passed away on impact, but his mom was able to be stabilized just in time. The paramedics didn't know that Landon was still in the car until they saw a shoe sticking out. He was rushed to the hospital where his heart stopped twice. The doctors then told his mom that he would survive. When he woke up, he said that he saw his dad in heaven. He also said that he saw 2 of his relatives, and lastly, he said that he saw 2 of his mom's other children. His mom was confused at first, but then remembered that she had 2 miscarriages before he was even born. But the part that shocked her the most is that she never told that to Landon because he was too young to understand. Here's 5 things you didn't know about SpongeBob. There was a replica of the Krusty Krab built in Palestine. The original name for SpongeBob was SpongeBoy Ahoy, but SpongeBoy was copyrighted by a mob company. Tom Kenny, the voice actor for the anchovies, actually inhaled helium from a tank to do the voice. Carolyn Lawrence, the voice actor for Sandy, said she got lots of letters from prison and that was her biggest fan base. Barack Obama said his all-time favorite character is SpongeBob SquarePants because he watched the show with his daughters. Now if you're from America or another country that doesn't have SpongeBob on Netflix, you could click the link in my profile and download the app, then open it and change your location to Canada, and now when you search it up, you could watch it. Here's 3 survival tips that could one day save your life. Starting a fire with almost no resources. All you need is batteries and foil, like a bubblegum wrapper. Just put the foil at the end of the batteries and it will start to heat up and burn. Then once you get a flame, you could use things like Doritos to have a mini fire. Sending an emergency signal. Now that you know how to make a fire, you need a lot of smoke. To produce that, you could use fresh pine and spruce leaves, wet leaves from any other trees, or rubber materials. Another way to send a signal is by using something reflective, like a mirror, CD, metal, and even jewelry. Emergency number. A really handy thing to know is that most cell phones will dial your local emergency number even if you have no SIM card and no service. 5 people who won the food lottery, part 11. This person found 2 fruit by the foots in 1 package. This person got a bun from McDonald's covered in seeds. This person got 9 pieces of cereal stuck together to make 1 big square. This person got an extra hot dog. And before I tell you the craziest one about this goldfish, I found this app that reads the lines on your palm and tells you what it means. Just press the button on my profile to get it. Finally, this person got a goldfish 3 times the size. 1 in a million coincidences. These 2 trucks lined up and said Taylor Swift. This guy took off the mask and looks more like Mario than Mario does himself. The mountains on the truck lined up perfectly with the mountains in real life. These 2 ladies were dressed up almost the exact same and they're doing the same thing. This news reporter looks the exact same as the robber that's on the loose. Animals that are bigger than you thought. This is how big horses' lungs are. This is how big a giant leatherback sea turtle is compared to a human. Here's how big a giant African land snail is compared to a hand. Here's how big a blue whale's heart is compared to a human. Here's how big eagle's claws are compared to a hand. And here's how big a saltwater crocodile is. 3 hilarious times when live TV went wrong. This news channel was having an interview with someone who was working from home and his kids decided to join him. But when his wife comes in, it's even more funny.
For the wider region, I think one of your children's just walked in.
I would be surprised if they do. Pardon me. Pardon me. My apologies.
This TV reporter was trying to report beside the road and this kept happening.
Thousands have been built here over the...
During the evening news, this meteorologist got interrupted while showing the weather.
Well, hey there.
I don't know what's going on, but Zane doesn't know.
Take a look at what's going on right now. You want to point out the weather right now?
Yeah, there were farts everywhere and toots. It's crazy.
3 hilarious times when live TV went wrong. The worst school punishments. In 2011, a teacher from Albuquerque called the police because a student burped in class. The boy was then taken to juvenile prison for testing. Christopher Baker, who was a 9-year-old student from Kentucky, was put in a duffel bag for misbehaving in class. The school claimed that he was in the therapy bag for almost 20 minutes. Due to the mother's claims, the teachers involved were fired. At a school in New Jersey, a student accidentally spilled water on the lunchroom floor. When the assistant principal saw the incident, she forced 16 students to eat their lunch on the floor for 10 days. When the parents found out, they sued the school, winning $500,000. Finally, a 5-year-old from Pennsylvania received a 10-day suspension for wanting to shoot her Hello Kitty bubble gun at another student. She said, "I'll shoot you, you shoot me, and we'll play together." After the teacher heard the conversation, she sent her to the principal's office. And even though she just had a bubble gun, she was suspended for a terroristic threat. Here's what actually happens during sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is when you feel like you're awake, meaning you could see and hear, but your body's still asleep and unable to move. During this, you may be unable to move or speak for a couple seconds or even a few minutes. Some people also feel pressure on their chest, as if someone was sitting or standing on it. You might even be afraid because of a nightmare that you were having. This usually happens when you're first falling asleep or your body's getting ready to wake up. The most expensive things thrown away. J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter, gave an interviewer one of her books. He thought it would be a flop, so he threw it in the trash. Today, the first edition of the copy sells for over $80,000. In England, one of the machines used by the British government to decipher secret messages during World War II was thrown into a recycling plant. The machine is valued at $10,000 and is considered one of the most important pieces of history in the world. A woman in the US took her 1976 Apple I computer to a recycling center. Not too long later, the owners of the center auctioned the computer for $200,000. But they're now trying to find the former owner to share the money with. James Howell lost 7,500 bitcoins in 2013 after losing the hard drive that he stored them on. At the time, one coin was $130, but today each coin is $40,000, meaning he lost over $300 million.